Hello and welcome to Bay Area Focus. I'm Kenny Choi in for Michelle Griego. Let's kick off the show with one of the country's oldest breweries. It's San Francisco's Anchor Brewing Company, and Brewmaster Scott Ungermann is here to tell us all things about beer. Scott, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's talk about Anchor Steam Beer. It's one of the oldest in the country. How did it start off?
Okay, so Anchor, we trace our roots here in San Francisco all the way back to 1896. And actually a little further back than that with a tavern that eventually changed its name to Anchor in 1896. So we've been brewing right here in San Francisco since then and brewing a style of beer called steam beer, which is unique to San Francisco.
And that's the original beer that they started off with.
Yep.
The product that Anchor Steam is very proud of.
Yeah, Anchor Steam is our flagship beer at Anchor Brewing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about the different beers that you guys brought in today.
Okay, so we brought steam beer, of course, our original, and then California Lager in a brand new package that is the Strength in Numbers pack that we have with the Warriors. So we're proud to be working with the Warriors and making a beer to celebrate that strength in numbers. And then we have a third beer over here, the Brewer's Pale Ale, which is a brand new pale ale that we're just bringing out really next week. So getting a sneak preview. So
Scott, you've been brewing for decades now. Tell us what the brewing process is like.
Okay, the brewing process is a time-honored process of taking grains and first malting the grains so that they have the right enzyme package to break down the starches into sugars, and you do that in a process called mashing. So you grind up the grain and you mix it with warm water and you mash it, and then you strain off the liquid in something called a lauter tun. Bring it into the brew kettle, you boil it, you add hops, and then after you boil it for the right amount of time, you add those hops for flavor and aroma. You can add many different grains too that can give you from light beers to dark beers, and times and temperatures vary, all kinds of things that you can change. And then you cool it down, you put it in a fermenter with yeast, and in a few days you got beer.
And you guys start pretty early too.
Yeah, at the brewery we start mashing in every day at 5 a.m.
Tell us a little bit more about the differences between this, because we got steam beer and you've got the lager and the pale ale. Tell us about the differences when you're brewing it. What's the difference?
Okay, so the main difference to designate those different styles of beers is the yeast. So steam beer, which is your California classic, is actually a lager beer that's fermented at warmer temperatures. It's something that was invented out here on the West Coast out of necessity, and making steam beer was just the way they started making beer when they first started making beer here in San Francisco.
And should we try to sample some of these too?
Yeah, of course. We brought beer.
It's been a long morning. Why not, right? Okay.
And so then to continue the story, the lager is cold lagered with the same yeast, and then the pale ale, any ale uses a different yeast than ale yeast. So this is a little steam beer. This is steam beer.
Steam.
You can see it, that brilliant amber colored.
Okay. Right here.
There it is. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. Yeah.
Take a sip of this.
And you can smell it. It's nice and malty and estery. Esters being like fruity aromas that you get from our yeast, and then you can smell the balance of hops in there that kind of waft up in there. And
a lot of hops in this one, or?
A healthy amount of hops, not a lot by modern standards. Back in the early '60s, and in 1965, when Fritz Maytag bought this brewery here in San Francisco, it was probably the hoppiest thing on the market. But certainly, hops have gone way past that in today's market.
And what about the alcohol content? What determines you guys selecting a 4.9% alcohol content for a certain beer or for a different one?
Alcohol content is going to really, it changes. I mean, you can make beers that are as low as down in the 3% alcohol, all the way up to your double IPAs and barrel aged things that are up above 10, and everything in between. Right around 5% is kind of the standard lager beer, standard continental lagers and standard American lagers. 5%. It's a nice balanced beer that is drinkable and refreshing and doesn't, get in your head too much.
All right, are we going to taste another one? Or
we got another one. Okay. We got a lager to taste.
I would love to drink the rest of this, but I still have the show to do.
I get it. Yep.
So this one is which one is this one?
This is a California lager. So with the Warriors crown there. I don't know if you can zoom in on that.
Teaming up with the Golden State Warriors, winning combination.
Yeah, winning combination. Right, so California lager, which is a nice golden lager. You can see a little lighter in color there.
Yeah. And then for Valentine's Day is coming up. So which beer would you select?
Oh, Valentine's Day is a special day. You want to have something you can toast. For me, I'd go to steam beer because
Steam beer?
steam beer.
That's the product.
Steam
That's
beer's
the product.
closest to my heart. That's why. So
right.
cheers.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Scott, you could also check out Anchor's Public Taps. It's a one-of-a-kind experience. It's located at 495 DeHarrow Street across from the brewery. You could go to the website for more information, anchorbrewing.com. All right, coming up, Goddess Power, when Bay Area Focus continues after the break.